Hello and welcome to the season finale recap of Naked and Afraid Castaways, a spin-off of Naked and Afraid in which 9 survivalists are placed on a deserted island and are tasked with surviving 21 days with no tools. If they make it to 21 days, they are to be at the northernmost part of the island where they must start a signal fire and use a raft they build themselves to paddle to the extraction boat. Now, of these 9 survivalists, 3 unfortunately had to tap. That is right, Candace had to leave due to a tooth infection. And then there was Rachel, who had to leave because of a fractured tibia and a torn meniscus. And Justin had to leave because of amoebic dysentery. So now we are left with Andrew, Boulent, Kara, Naeem, Patrick, and Heather. And we start out on day 20, actually, where there's a scene of Patrick using a hatchet to get some coconut husks so Boulent can start a fire. And Naeem approaches him and asks for the hatchet, and Patrick doesn't give it to him right away. Now, there's a little bit of back and forth until there is full-blown getting in the face, screaming at one another. And then we flash back to day 18. So day 18 and 19 are basically the preparation to the hike and the actual hike to get to the northernmost part of the island. We see Patrick getting some sea urchin and sea cockroaches, and Boulent actually gives them a compliment, which is very high praise when it comes from Boulent. And we see Naeem and Heather setting up some passive fish traps to get some fish, and on day 19, they all start their track to the northernmost part of the island. And it is a very difficult track because there's harsh sunlight, they're tired. But Patrick, he's the Energizer Bunny. He's ready to go. And there's a point where he's going, oh, look at the islands. Everything's so pretty. And Carrie's going, Patrick, I love you, but please shut up. And so they all make it to a beach at the northernmost part of the island and begin setting up camp so that when day 20 rolls around, they can start building the raft. And after their hike, before they set up for camp, they notice a lot of garbage on the beach and start making a plan to make a raft, but don't start on the raft till day 20. And on day 20, Naeem kind of takes charge of raft building, where he comes up with the idea of what to do. There is a little bit of tension between the group because it's not going as fast as people want, and Kara and Naeem have a little bit of a back and forth, so there is a bit of tension. And then later on, Boulent and Patrick make a signal fire that they will set the next day, and then later on, Boulent and Patrick just want to start a fire just cuz, and Patrick is using the hatchet to get some coconut husk, and Naeem approaches him asking about the hatchet, and we basically see the scene from the beginning of the episode play out where they end up yelling at each other because Patrick is like, stop talking to me, just let me get this coconut husk and I will get it. And Naeem is saying how I'm just trying to get it so we can continue with the plan. And they're yelling at each other, and Andrew comes in and separates the two and yells at them and says, Patrick, go with the fire, Naeem, you come over here. A little bit later, Andrew gathers both Patrick and Naeem and they talk it out, and everything is perfectly okay. And they also, by the end of day 20, or at least before the sunset, they finish building the raft, and it's a very, very good raft. So kudos to Naeem for spearheading the raft building, and kudos to everyone for, getting everything together and building the raft. And then day 21 rolls around, and it's great because it's time for them to leave. Boulent and Patrick set the signal fire on fire, and then everyone goes to paddle away. And after a little bit of some craziness trying to get over the surf, they make it to open water, and in the distance, there's the extraction boat. That's right, the extraction boat comes, and we have our 6 finishers of Naked and Afraid Castaways. Andrew and Naeem have gotten their redemption after being unable to complete previous challenges, and Boulent is proud of himself because this is a very difficult challenge, and he said on the season finale episode of Jake and Afraid that he'll really only come back if the concept is difficult, and the concept for Castaways was pretty difficult, being on an island with nothing. And Kara, Heather, and Patrick make it onto the boat as well, so we have our 6 finishers. And overall, I thought this was all a pretty good season. There were a lot of unique characters that were different from one another. Boulin on Jake and Afraid said that no one had the same survival skills. There were also different dynamics between the groups. There was some butting of heads between Heather and Andrew early on, but pretty much after that, other than the Naeem and Patrick fight, there wasn't too much tension. Well, other than Boulent and Naeem kind of having some tension, and then Kara and Naeem having some tension, and then the drama with Justin eating a little bit of the fruit, but he's okay. So there was some tension and some drama, but it was the right amount of tension and drama where you don't go away disliking anyone severely. It's just, they're out there, they're starving, tensions are going to be high, and they butt heads a little bit, but at the end of the day, they all came together and worked hard to finish the challenge. Now, hopefully there will be a season 2 because I heard somewhere that they had good ratings, so this would be an interesting concept to see moving forward. So we can have the regular Naked and Afraid, we could have XL, Last One Standing, Solo, and Castaways, and those can all be used to have different survivalists come back for a challenge, so it can not be a huge line of survivalists wanting to come back. It could just be a shorter line where some go on this show, some go on that show. So we'll see how this all turns out, but I'm fingers crossed for a future season 2. And also, what was not mentioned was Andrew ended up getting dengue fever from the whole ordeal. And luckily, he is fully recovered from that. But he did have a post on his Instagram talking about his condition. And so, luckily, he's okay from that. But he did get dengue fever, and it was pretty rough for him a little bit. But thankfully, he made a full recovery. And that's good because we like Andrew on this channel. And on the podcast, talking about Naked and Afraid on Pop Culture Curiosities, which I'm a host of, I talk about Andrew a little bit, and you may be hearing about him more in the future from Pop Culture Curiosities. We shall see. And also, if anyone was wondering, yes, the survivalists do meet up with one another before the challenge starts. So on Justin's Instagram, he posted videos showing everyone pre-insertion. So if anyone was wondering, hey, don't they know that these other survivalists are going to be there? Yes, they do. They all meet up beforehand. So, pulling away the curtains a little bit, but it is proven. So kudos to everyone. I hope there's a season 2. Thank you all so much for listening, and I hope you have a wonderful day/night. Please like, nice comments only, please, and subscribe. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Okay, bye-bye.